Every time I look at my mom, I see my world. I see a protector, a provider. I see a friend like no other. Sometimes I sit and wonder, how do we protect such beautiful creatures? Well, sometimes you can't, especially against things like death. The least we can do is to encourage them to take Tori funeral plan, because they take care of us when they are here, and Tori will take care of us when they are gone.
Re a leboha ka thapelo le monate jwang. Bomme le bontate ke la ka tsa ke le bolelle hore morero le sepheo sa letsatsi la kajeno memo ke hore re ke re tlotla re hlalosa le ho hopola re ikhopotsa puo ya mohlomphehi Tonakgolo ha ne a hlomamiswa, e leng sona seikokotlelo seo re se sebedisang kapa re itataisang ka sona sebeletsong ya puso ya kajeno. Ka hona ke kopa hore ke tle ke hlalose hore tsatsing la kajeno re tla ipapisa le puo ya kajeno le sepheo le morero fela. Re kopa hore le dipotso tse bang di tla ba teng kapa tlhakisetso tse hlokahalang di amahane di ipapise le puo eo re tla be re bua ka yona kajeno. Jwale ke kopa hore ke tle ke hlalose sa le qalong hore letsatsing la kajeno re tlo bua ka toro e leng vision kapa pono ya mohlomphehi Tonakgolo eo a bileng le yona le pele mmuso o thewa. Ke sepheo le morero wa letsatsi la kajeno kapa la mmoka o bitseng kajeno. Ka mantswe a mang ke hlalosa hore ha se press conference mona e tlwaeleng ya hore eba sebui se bang se a bua o tla bua ebe boraditaba ba teng kapa baphatlalatsi ba ditaba e ba bona ba tla mamela e ra ba qeta mone ba phamisa matsoho ba botsa. Sepheo le morero ke hore re bue le lona le baphatlalatsi ba ditaba le botse ka nako eno e ba re tla boetse ka morao mone re tswela pele hape e le hore ha re feta ntlha ya pele ga be re dumela re utlwisa kaofela ka mona hore re a utlwisisa le dipotso e tle re ha re di botsa re be re ipapisa le tlhaloso e fanweng. Ke a leboha. Ke tla fetisetsa ditaba hona jwale ho ntate Kobedi hore a ja hlalose re tla mona mo utsang purpose and re gana through the program hona ho etsahalang
ke a leboha ntate Takane. Bomme le bontate se ke hlalositswe le bitso la ga ke Teboho Kobedi. Mosebetsi wa ka nna o mo kgutshwanyane fela ke hore ke le amohele ke be ke le lebohe hore ke be le atleile hore tle ka bongata bona go tlatla ya kgola poster ga ne re beile le hle itlhakisitse hore na seo re batlang hore re se fihlele na ke sepe mme le baphatlalatsi le baqolotsi ba ditaba go bohlokwa hore e be lone ba ka sehloohong bao le pele re ka tlatla engage mafapha a mang mohlomong a setjhaba ge ebe pila ga re re qala ka lona hobane hona tokomane yena re bua ka yona mohlomphehi Tonakgolo o buile ka lona hona moo e le hore ha re se re buile ditaba tseno re tla be se re tseba ona way forward na ke feng mme ke ona ke tlhoke mosebetsi wa ka o mokgutshwanyane o mong hape ko le tsebisa ka po le hlalosetsa sebopeho sena se re emeng ka sona ke ditho tsa tse bitswang Prime Minister's Delivery Unit mme e bopuwe ka tsela ena eo ke a kgola le tla hopola hore ke modulasetulo ka bo ke chairman ka bo modulasetulo wa diboka wa party e busang e bitswang RP e leng yona e qeteletseng e entse puso mme pela ka mona ntate Takane ya kgola haebe mohlomong le sa tsebe ke le tsebiso hore ke yena motlatsi wa modulasetulo wa diboka wa RP ka hona party ila ikeletsa ka pohle ke re mohlomong itona kgolo ila ikeletsa hore ha delivery unit ena e tlotla thusetsa haholo hore e hlakise ditaba tsa buileng ka tsona haholo hore re ne re kgutlisetse ditaba mane ma qalileng teng vision ya hae e leng e hauweng ka tokomane ena e entsweng le pele ena e ka ba tona kgolo mme ke a kgola ha motho a sa le ka hara puso o tla fumana hona le dintho tse ngata tse etsahalang tseo batho ba sa ba sheba ho tsona go fapana le hore ba mo kgutlisetse ditabeng tsane tseo itseng ha a thea puso ka pele a tla kena pusong a ile a re nna ke tla ke sebetsa ka tsela e itseng jwale be ntse re tataya le yena ka taba tseo so wa ka fela ne le ho hlalosa mme ho tsamaya le ntate Tshele ke setsebi se hlahang mokgatlong wa pitso seo re sebetsang le sona hore re nne re bone hore seo mohlomong itona kgolo a ile o tla se etsa shaba sa Basotho re nne re hopotsane re nne re shebe le hore na ha itse ho etsahala tjena na re ne re khutlele fatshe re shebe na mohlomong itona kgolo taba e yana itse e etsahale na le bona ka ntse etsahala kapo e tlo etsahala neng so ke a kgola ke ka hona letsatsi la ka dino ila ga re ipitse mmoka ona o ka ona re hlileng re tla sheba morao re tla khutela tokomaneng ena mme ke a kgola ntate Tshele o tla re tataisa ka yona tokomane ka tsona ditaba tsena tseo stage by stage re tla nne re ya ka tsona re hlalosa ona o ile a reng mme re sebetse o latela ka mokgwa ntate Takane a tshulong ka teng re ipapisitse le yona tokomane ena hobane re ke be ra tla arabela ditaba tsa mmuso hobane ha re ka hole a mmuso rone re ka mmuso o na le di-PS o na le matona o na le diofisiri tse ngata haholo tseo di patallwang ho etsa mosebetsi oo mme ba tla nna ba arabela ditaba tsa bona moo e ba mohlomong bo ga ditaba ba ka lakatsa ho ba hlalose hore la mohlomong itona go rona itse taba ke ena ebile mona ka e supa le kala le itseng taba e se le ha kae e le hore ha re no tla re araba taba tseno ha re bue mona re le mmuso ke kopa taba eno e hlake hore ha re bue re le mmuso re bua re le delivery unit ya ofisi ya mohlomong itona kgolo e tla bua ka tokomane ena mohlomong e tla ka mora tokomane ena re tla nne re khutle hape ebe le a re kopa ka bogala kopa ha ona le taba e nngwe re batlang re tla e shebisana hape ho ya pele ka kgola ke thulo tena ntate Tshele ke kopa ntate bo so e pala
ke a leboga batho ba ka ke tlhalosang le Tshele ke sebeletsa Institute of Implementation Research pitso e mengwe gore e be karolo ya to add what we call independent voice to the operations of the pitso ke NGO. I think some of you are aware over the years has another situation for a petahertz because the sole purpose for why we have pitso institution that studies implementation and that comes back and says implementation how is that delivery unit. We were asked whether we could be part of that delivery unit. Me constitution ya ole thibang go ba ka gona mogatlong However, I mean, they are delivery unity. However, what delivery unity? Who sa bolaya identity ya pitso. E lo go condition e la ga ya go. However, the law, delivery unity ka mo. Then government must be aware of it. We are going to question and we are going to push for processes that enable engagement and accountability. It's what the if you go back to the problem, people say before we get to the subject of the matter, which is revisiting the Prime Minister's vision post 200 days of this government. Prime Minister's delivery unit terms of references. Like it's part of the documents that I shared with you. The delivery unit, the way I understand it, is composed for just one reason. There are people senior to push deliver. And with delivery is what? Accountability. You know, your delivery unity is not for do is to push, is to make as much noise. Since Sam Matekane in 2010, October, giving certain instructions and promising certain things. The context without necessarily speaking about progress or so. Background in terms of reference. It's basically a background that says across board. Doesn't matter what sector, this government inherits. This is the background. The rationale why a delivery unit and many other structures of government have been set up. If I highlight because this then forms the crux of why we have met today. Governments worldwide, including this government, cannot count upon democratic electoral processes to legitimize their tenure in office. There is more to do beyond the win to legitimize its stay. And the same applies to other governments across the globe. Beyond the election period now. There is more to legitimizing a government than the fact that then the paragraph reads, the new social pact or agreement that this government subscribes to between government and citizens now relies on visible, measurable results. That's the pact. This government says our legitimacy derives from visible, the results that measure over time. That is what shapes how this government intends to do business. The legitimacy of this government will be derived from the visibility and ability to measure results of what is doing. Not worry, but what if we can measure, if what is being done is not visible, if it cannot be measured, then there's a problem. the RFP-led government recognizes that the issue of public management, managing the public service, is central to go to the RFP government recognizes that the issue of public management is a condition for the state to deliver better services. Two things: visible, measurable results through a well-managed public sector. A well-managed public sector. These are the defining characteristics of what shapes the vision behind what this government was set up. Those are the defining characteristics. Yeah? So further down, there will be terms of reference in there, so that I don't lose it. Honale section, the role of the office of the Prime Minister in oversight. Remember, visible, measurable. You know, to officer to na hold irresponsible for oversight. It's this paragraph 1.3. And oversight is exercised through processes that GS would marry PS. You're a GS get out with PS. Unka musebeti ono o fetu la agenda cabinet to allow the Prime Minister to preside over ministers. When that does not happen, if the GS does not engage and oversee PSs, then cabinet does not have an agenda. Elore, the terms of reference that are set up at delivery unit, they recognize how the government secretary is very central in the proper functioning of the will of government. And what are referred to as functions of a government secretary. Broadway, the session is an engagement section. So, the GS is the center. If the GS does not do his job, which is presiding over PSs, then the Prime Minister cannot oversee ministers. I want you to underscore Manzia about Kibula Section 12 Fumona Public Service Act 2005. The establishment of an office called the Government Secretary's Office. The functions of the GS are spelled in that law. What he coordinates the activities of all principal secretaries and transmits that communication from PSs to cabinet. I've spoken to this. The GS is also responsible for conveying policies and discussions of government to anyone of interest to government. But the third function of the GS, what he enters into performance agreements with principal secretaries, he supervises and monitors their performance. Yeah? So he gets into performance contracts with PSs. And this contract should ideally spell what the government has promised Basotho it is going to do. If we have performance contracts that don't speak to the promises of the sitting government, then as it promises are set by the fellow to GSO can into the performance contract or supervise the PS. And if you read this, if you are coordinated the activities that the PS will be cabinet, you can see now. He does that on the basis, ideally, on the basis of contracts that PSs enter into with that office, the office of the government secretary. As I intend to tell you about supervisor, and the Prime Minister can say, hang on, Minister agreed. One problem. Yeah? Minister so and so. A pat on the shoulder. Minister so and so, Pamis. Fela ke batla le underscore mona hore PM hana mo ga o bua le matona. A sa tsebe na PS di ntse. Ero mosebetsi wa mmuso o bathong bo thungi di chief accounting officers, bo thungi di PS. Ba laolwang ke government secretary. CA no ha e balella ka o qeta ebile re
the GS has overall responsibility over all public officers. In terms of reference, in the centrality of the office of the GS, I think you now understand why the office of the GS is a very important office for government. If this office doesn't function properly, government is likely not to function properly. Because if you study that logic, how na agenda cabinet? I go to give cabinet. He's the one who prepares the agenda. Later was another back. Kupalu pisan taban ditele twa dilempo. Ko ba taba tse dikala ona. And said ligana go tsedi ki ditele tse a mamba bamba ona ha bohlo. Mme wa shwa o pepa mane. Tsele tsa bophelo. Bana ba stand bona because agriculture high produce yamile. It is because that logic has not happened over the years. We have never had, unless you can tell me otherwise, more than the PS over the last 20 years. Forget what is happening now. We come to that later on. Have you ever heard Motum PSA based on a performance contract? I got to not to in particular, but maybe not aligned to any performance contract. You know, at any given point in time, performance contract their PS. Again, you want also to PSA, one PS, 4, space 3 months. Because was PS in cabinet, was PS in defense, PS NSS, PS agriculture in 4 months. You see, that says this logic here, that is in the law. Okay? In esa ita, because I know that unata sign a performance contract finya khwedi. Ebe o sign a thing happy ya khwedi engwa or in those 4 months. But the sad part of this, remember, before you are journalists, never so. Before you are journalists, never so, and you are recipients of good or bad public services. You know, this media engagement session is not a session to do small politics. It's a session to knock into our hearts and say, having told them, is there nothing again? Responsible of our account. Then we have a problem. You know what you want to know, Kona? How does this government view the participation of media in this whole thing? Do PSS have contracts now? How many of you know in this one? Have you seen a PSS contract? Yeah? Then what are you reporting on in terms of performance of that sector? Have you seen a minister's contract? Then how can we honestly say, but logic is very critical. This is what the law says, the functions of the GS. I'll go back now to in terms of reference. Okay. Usually, has the refubano GS ki mokoko wa push based on what you've read. Kamala General section in any define a role prime minister in oversight. Yele PM with the oversight, they come to GS. You know, how GS as a we all in this room should have consent. The critical question would be whether this government allows you to participate or it doesn't. You see? And by participating, how to participate. I'll scroll further down. Keep a section here and you have the documents you read in full what the terms of reference for the delivery. Section A, Ibu what you call drivers of change. for this particular government. Porto, in his inauguration remarks, the Prime Minister said or defined the logic towards which the new government change program should be understood. For this new government, the only change it will do is to increase accountability in the public sector by creating a system in which performance expected of all public officials will be transparently stated and reported upon. And there will be social engagement around what performance has been achieved and what services have actually been delivered. The Prime Minister defined the logic of the new government change program. The government promised change. What is the logic of change? Change is change, how are you going to do that? Or what is going to be different? What distinguishes you from Buffett today? So to move on to other ways that are different from the rest is to increase accountability in the public sector. By doing what? By creating a system in which performance expected of all public officials, PSs, ministers, you name them, directors, everyone, will be transparently stated. PSA, we expect you with a 1, 2, 3, 4. And there will be social engagement around what has been achieved or not been achieved. Central to this logic is the ability of government to define results, reflect and communicate performance. Section A, because that is what marks the difference of this government. Making performance transparent. Stating performance ya motho mo le mo ga etsele o hotle mo le nteng o sta ipotsa PSA tebelwa ka o e wa intšha ka o so again elo ha motho yona o itse o tla lema so many hectares of what one ana go le fitla ditetse di se hele se tshaba we can even push go motho yona tso ofisi because we know. So the question is always what happens when we don't know. Mme se ke re hopole in 20 years of again. Did you ever know what is expected of anyone in government? The question is, do you know now? You know now? I'm asking a very simple question. In the last 20 years, could you say, I know that PS is responsible for 1, 2, 3, 4? Could you say that? Kine ke na ha ke ga gabe potso eno tletle o ene ona o fetile ka. Kine ke na 20 years back in la then I'll simplify it and say, do you know now? If you don't know now, that is wrong for this government. You must know. This media engagement, part of its objective is to push you to know. Is to push you to ask the right questions. Because if you don't know, they say knowledge is power. What power do you have as media in this country? Like our pala watchdog role, feelings at the PSA, what role can you? Serious.
So we post those questions to you.
I'm happy you are there. But we are saying, you may not get this from the Minister of PS, but the delivery you can say that. Because it has mandate to say, if this is the vision, is it happening or not happening? Is it? And but what then we'll respond. So I'm saying, there is an opportunity now to make this government accountable. And to make it government accountable, you must know what batho ba hiretsweng yona are meant to do. Okay? If at a point in the terms of reference in the delivery unit. Okay. The center of government, which is the Prime Minister's office, in particular, the Government Secretary's office, should exercise more decisive and effective control and accountability over government processes and the delivery program. Straight logic. What is the function of a GS? To get into performance contracts with PSs, to supervise, okay? And to take whatever is coming out of that to the Prime Minister, so that the Prime Minister can also do the same on ministers. Ilore, Muzonore, Ufoka a strong center. Ufoka a strong office of the government secretary. A GS that will get into performance contract, that will say, I don't have business if I don't have performance contracts with these people. You see, you know, I have a idea on the delivery unit is saying to you, that is contrary to the vision of this government. And that is what you must do. Go and find out. Are there contracts? Okay? Does the GS have contracts with PSS? If they are not there, it says the center cannot drive government business. Because Mutera will office hire the tools they got have you heard the story of TB in this country? The story of maternal deaths in this country. Masiama under 5 years. Ashwa, or maybe the first trimester. Just dogs are the decades. Maternal mortality is high. TB number 1. HIV number. Have you had a GS being fired for that? If you haven't had a GS being fired for that, what are you who cannot performance contract? You have a big role now to do that. To police, to play a watchdog role on some of these issues that shape the logic of how this government can bring about change. Why about that? Kana go etelele Lesotho ke na haya batho ba ngolang fela ba sa phethatseng. Then why let our fela nto fela melao le teng ya ona na etsa mashaka? You know what this government is saying? It is important to have a very strong government. The Gibuari driver that change. Another point that in terms of reference, how to effective citizen engagement. We are in this meeting to engage so that you have knowledge, you have power to engage with your government, to deliver services that you receive. Because if you can engage, you are watchdog, you are sidetracked. Yeah? Interest becomes issues that happen in parliament, in what? Not fighting TB that's killing you every day. Not fighting maternal mortality that's killing you, your sister, your brother, your mother every day. Not having food to eat because somebody in this country is not doing something. So I'm saying, Bimbaga, this is part of an agenda to engage more people to understand what government is trying to do. And the delivery unit says, if today you still don't know, go and find out on the basis of what we are saying today. So the terms of references, purpose here delivery that's the purpose. To support the Prime Minister's office to exercise strong oversight and accountability over the public and local government service. You have the public service, you know how passionate Kitso is about the sphere of India local government. More persuading in a councillor. Hello to deliver unity that we saw official competuna follow, KGS, Calatrala public service, for bona fella on a oversight. Then go under how to deliver unity to them, so PS. ha e tlo etsa mosebetsi wa matona e le hore delivery unit ya tlo pheta mosebetsi wa batho ba sa ntse ba hiruo ba o etse mebusong e fetileng we had delivery units that do jobs for batho ba kana re tsa hiruo nda so ntso hiruo PS again yolo tu yela di ba ni tu di ba yona e o deliverise o go rando ke ntho ka ti delivery unit ya ka me phete ntho wena o so ntso hiretse e tla mele re fela he media tsa mo botsang date man na o tsa setso e lo role ya ona bembaga e lining yeno fela o thusa prime minister ka oversee and the reason o tonga thusa prime minister o sa tlo thusa le tona it goes back to that issue of oversight is a responsibility of the prime minister in this country not an individual minister because all ministers are under the prime minister you know kwanza nyane ke le fa yona that's gonna is to question the prime minister about the oversight because as a member of the delivery unit I'm allowed to say that I'm allowed to encourage you to question processes of oversight and accountability because that is the vision of this government. Tell media to come and ask us. So I guess they didn't sell the specific figures in terms of reference, but the cracks that's a delivery unit yona e. Yole ke khupela agenda iteming is unless that they will studio ka refa 10 minutes just to reflect on this or 5 minutes. 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, just to reflect on this and nothing else. On what I've said and nothing else. Yeah?
Nalo nali dio yemo le teng ka molao wa motheo wana apa ke ntho e dumelwaneng ke party ya RFP na le teng ka molao hore ha PS ba kapo yenwa GS a sitwa ho fumana dikarabo ho yane PS na lona ho na le ntho le ka etsa nka tataiswa go gona
Ke tle ke ya ka benda ada di tlile teng ka molao tja ke tsena kwa motheo kwa tara re itse delivery unit supporta prime minister elo prime minister ga iketsa advice hore rolling yena ka oversight ta ke nna ke le prime minister yole ka hale tona la ka dipatla consultant yo tsa ntse ke di consultant ba ka le yole ke gora ka ba ona tsona di molao mo feng wa motheo consultant technical advice etc. Elo le mona tona khona le discretion ya hore for me to execute my job I can put together a team of people that can help me do that hantle fela yole ka hona le consultant ba ka to help sectors to deliver on 1, 2 or 3 and 4 or I want to sa hlaya ka public service act ka ba sa hlaya in the constitution when you have a task you can say to yourself ke bona ke sena capacity ya ba ke na I want to build my capacity down against one. So to answer you, otherwise we wouldn't be sitting in this office. I don't know what act, what constitution or what, but we are here. We are a legitimate unit that is recognized by the person responsible for
it. GS no ifike mo sebetsi wa GS o tsa botse o na le monga hae e leng tona go monga hae ke tona go le consultant hae na tselo ya hore e ka be se e khoma mo e hirweng teng go thwe e thuse PS e itseng kapa lona itseng e be se le ene se tatamala e le ka pele ilo correcta kapa ilo botsa itseng e tla advise motho yane eo ena a sebetsang le ena
e le go ntate ko be gore gona mo go tswa gona go tsiya tsona go go ntate your system is sleeping on the job
Taba ye ya lona ke tlo fapana ka e leeletsa e tseng Mantabiseng mo ya ho la fihla batho ba bang ba ipitsang ka lebitso le le ntle le ho bitswang PS eo re tsebang le yena a betseng tokelo le matla ohle a ho laola ditjhelete lekaleng lefe kapa lefe la mmuso jwale lona le re le sebetsa le tsona kgolo fela moo ho senang performance e ntle ho PS ka molaodi e moholo le GS le ho botsa rona tseteng ke re mare Mantabiseng ho na le motho e mong a la fihla lebitso la hae ke Thabo Kgasi a fihla a nka matla a batho bo tsweng ke PS ke thakang ye re keneng ka hare ho yona hona jwale so ke re lona ha eba ha lena matla ho batho bana ye mo tsweng ke GS le eno tsweng ke PS but lona le coordinate kapa le reporta ho yana di tswang tsona holo nako e ba re kakang ba babedi ba sa etse mosebetsi le re rona ka mona ho ba botsa lona mosebetsi wa lona tla belo
I think the legitimate question. They are gona ga tla o thusa go be le di-resources tsa go botsa a ke wa bona na ke go pisitse kang that has never happened. The GS, the PS has never done that. The PS has not taken into confidence or not. If you are going to question this government, what do you need to do? I get them so big program ya le ka o di batla go separate them to bits. Mane ha ba go nona le motho a nkile mosebetsi wa di-PS le a ke gona go so big mosebetsi wa di-PS ka mo re bua ka mosebetsi wa tona golo wa oversight a ke re wa re nthuseng ke go batho bana ba di ba file mosebetsi a ke re wa bona a ke re nthuse nna ke etse wa e le ngwana o bona machinery ona ka wa function e le ona ka tla re date a ba go batla go partner le media tabeng thusa media go phame go etsa mosebetsi
le puto we
fela go polentse re le ya tabeng
ke go ba di kana ka tla se tla bana tla di ba tswa
Jalo wona.
ke ba o ni bula di jela ha ba
Ke we ke fana di sola ka da. Ke mo tla le ya di tawo ke. Da di tsele. Le bota. Ke kwa le gana go re bona le re lona le tlhomo di polao ke. Me ke a gola putse mo di tla ka database tsa di tse ngata di tla di apo please finger the law or the act in it hang lona le body it hang people it lets give the kind of hantle who are you and how can that to finger the act in it have ke active ya hola ha eba go fule go ba jwang e ba le consultancy o re tswe re hlakeng gobane ke batla go supa tabene ke ni buseng e fitileng ke le ga bona the structures se na le similarities tse kang tsa rona tse ne se bitswa resource school and how had the leaders the political parties in the cooperative mission you go call like the structure the government will decide this way there will be other group e tlanka tse di ntsa yona tse fapaneng jale le gona ge le batheile go thusa gona structure ka se e se le ba potsa go bina ha se tlo lidela mo jwale mo re tla utlwa mohlomong balekane ka ga puso ene ba se balla gore icon tse re nagana re matona ge etsa decision mo di go na le matona le sehlopha se seng sa matona ma se tlanka decision tsa sona jwale ga re sa utlwana structure se ga rena go bona se re di mo my last question le gola bokae le gola mokotleng wa mmuso bokae gona na ba gola mokotleng wa mmuso ya lo
Okay. That kire ke ntse ke khutlela tabeng yana ya hore go e potso ena mola ya ona what law. I think I responded to that question and said the Prime Minister has the prerogative to put together a team of people that can help him to do his job. And that should not be provided by the Constitution or any act. He can do that. Unless you can say that cannot happen. One mola waha. Consultant difference. But you can't tell me. To give you confidence over delivery unity, we are not going to interact with PSs. We are not going to interact with ministers. I want to underscore the Prime Minister. The PS advice, I got to advice. You like the consultant because the Prime Minister says, yeah, na share the problem has always been a weak center. How come a GS will enter into performance contract? He will supervise these people. He will take whatever comes out of that into cabinet. Again, you know, then I'm in control of this government. So I get to know why should it be by law? Or why should it be by an act of parliament or what? For a duty bearer to say he advised I don't know whether there's any law that says it must be done by law or whatever. Then I will tell you, so assurance PS. Because Prime Minister it would be remiss of me I need a team of people that can speak honestly and genuinely and say things are not happening, which is what we have now. You've never had a PS that goes to the Prime Minister and say, you've never had a minister that goes to the Prime Minister and say that all the time. And this is because the center is weak, or the center has always been weak. So unless provision then maybe then there will be a contention to this point. There will be a time is it a launch of delivery unit not Prime Minister himself. Complexity delivery unity is it comprised of RFP le pitso fela hantente le structure ka se me jwang le ba kae ka tabai ke lebo.
Ke hola ke kopa ho fela hona le mohlomong ke qadile tshebetso neng le tlo tla le ba teng nako e kae mohlomong ha ba ke kontraka le motse hlano kapa tse ka ke le hlakise le yona.
sebetsa sa dilo sa so gore na delivery unit na e thilwe ka megala mafota le matsolo a thileng fa kapo ke ya motlhompedi na golo a le mona sebetsa ona lona le hiruwe le criteria e sebeditsweng ga le e ne le ya pele o e mong gore le la re le the heart o le pelo e ka le pelo ya prime minister go le ba ile tse ba go ba ga
No. It's a GS.
e re ke o yes
Yes, yeah.
go tswa ka bona mo e sa le sebetsa le kopana ga ka ile tuna kapo yes bona e sa le sebetsa before re sheba performance ya ne lona le sheba lona performance ya lona e sebetsa
But if you go on our hiring times, you see, don't you find this session useful? Hey, go away. You know, you don't put it in. And I crave your indulgence, Bimba. Do you find this session useful? Or would it have been more useful if it was introduced by so and so? What if it is not done? Is this thing useful? Do we feel we have to be introduced? No, we didn't necessarily feel that we have to be introduced. You know what I mean? Because there's no law that says we can't introduce ourselves. Are you finding value from what you're saying? That's core. You see? Because if you dwell on processes, you see, then you are saying no. Is there value in you asking government? Okay. Revisit vision. Again, some of these processes, maybe we are starting a journey of engagement. Again, and what is critical, the purpose of our meeting. You see, even if I'm told by Ndatemo what my role is, you see, the question of that is what is important. You see, unless you can say Harry Kaistemona will get into trouble, and that's for us to worry about. You will worry about whether introducing ourselves is a problem. Not unless you are saying there is a law that says what. Is that fair? Yeah. I'm moving to the next item now. Revisiting Matekane's vision, and I'll say what that vision is. Bala le tokomane no ke re share ke. La bona ke re emotsweng deliverology. Le tsera ke. The functioning of the delivery unit. La kuta bemba. The functioning delivery unit is based on a theory and approach ya deliver. Theorists and students of deliver. Institute of Implementation. Hello, 207, we have always been asking ourselves, why is there no deliver? And we came across a theory that explains 6 conditions for deliver. One is that there is a set direction, clearly, without ambiguity. Again, performance contract. A performance contract provides what? Context again and direction. Again, most non-direction. Delivery because you don't know direction in the context. So I'll run you through this. Number 2, establish clear accountability lines or matrices. Okay? Once you know where you are going, then you have to say, how are we going to report and reflect on this thing that we set out to do? Again, so in government, once stage number 1 and number 2 is done, then you provide a budget and resources for those things that you have agreed to do to happen. See? Number 4, we've spoken a lot about monitoring and evaluation in government. For department, department monitoring and evaluation under the planning unit. Yeah? It's because those units are set to do what? To track that direction based on an agreed what? Accountability framework. Yeah? Then, how to track our monitor track now we go from point A to point B. Okay? Now fit from point A to point B. Evaluation is attaching value to the we do have to just make it a one make a just there. Utileka. I get to the kuti. Actually, this mongo game is short typing, save your resources, etc. For the longest of time, I want to move away than the city gaming. Fellow component in evaluation is into consideration. How about how I got 1 billion? How I got 20 million? How you track performance effectively. For delivery to happen, you hold robust performance dialogues. There was a dialogue in the first 100 days of government. That dialogue was initiated by the delivery unit. It did not happen as we planned it, but it was an attempt to move government closer to vision and transparency, openness. Time and again, you need to hold what? Robust dialogues, that performance, which is why we are meeting with media today to do what? To encourage you to be part of this dialogue, that performance. You see, unless you can come and say, dialogue with that performance. The last, also very important element that deliver. Who is the most of money performance? There are consequences. Again, good or bad. But everything we get a pat on the shoulder. We institute a corrective action. One year been back. I give out a TV. The consequence. We give out all the time. Tell about Valeka system. If a few facility of the resource or by the you know the story of decentralization in this country. Doesn't happen. Then you ask yourself, but the law says the GS gets into contract with PSS and so what's happening? This is what this government is inviting you to do. Test Melawena. Find means and ways of getting into the dialogue. So cycle can I get a presenter because now I'm getting to the vision and give out now. Vision and mark the points that are the 6 vision. So I'll turn now to what? To the Prime Minister's inauguration speech. You'll have time to read through it, but I'll just touch 1 or 2 issues that I find important for this session to underline. In his speech, in his inauguration speech, the Prime Minister says Lesotho's national budget is absorbed by government consumption. Okay? Wages are estimated at 32%. Okay? Of the total procurement, a value of 35%. Okay? Public spending has increased over the last few years and has reached 65% of the GDP. Goes towards financing public spending. Kidi wage, kidi pension, but where is the value from this big investment? Yeah? Where is the value? Muso has become the biggest employer. Each one of us wants to align because everybody believes that a job will come through my alignment with what? With a party that may become government. Because absorption, so the Prime Minister says that is not a sustainable model. How do one Muso Pilaga the revenue again? You are aware of the circle revenues are declining and they've been declining over time. Okay? You know, Halakwana and had revenue to that new even Onaga here. The wage bill is too high. But I think what value do we get from the wage bill? What's the value of that level of investment? What are we getting from it? But it's a village. This is part of the speech where the Prime Minister is just giving context to sadly, even the high spending in the public sector has not translated into satisfactory performance across all sectors. But what and it's not a problem. We all want to be employed. But can people who are employed deliver something to justify what? The investment. Okay? The manner in which we spend the resource also leaves a lot to be desired. The Prime Minister addressing the nation. Our capital budget is a tiny 27% of the total budget. A tiny 27%. I get it? While 73% goes towards recurrent. Okay? Resource where government is judged. Because a lot goes towards recurrent and it's not tied to what performance and delivery. So pick a few lines for discussion and another thing. You'll come to your new government has to fix some of the imbalances mentioned above. It has to fix the public service. It has to fix the public service to make it more efficient, transparent, and accountable, which in turn will make it what? Effective. Only there's a saying, a lot of people didn't understand why I'm saying that. It is because government reacts to pressure. I don't know whether you've seen that. How got to see this radio then go out on a PSL about to have a Chagana by then. So the Prime Minister is saying, open up this thing to everybody. Let there be noise all over so that these people can move. You see? You know, however, moves or that Africa, maybe if it is the only station that's pushing that pressure. What I'm trying to say, Muzore, who criticized at this time around Hassim Dream. But it is important to criticize within what context. Ho tshuwa jwang. Mme taba eno ke tla e bontshana e hlaya ka ditokomane tsena tse ntse ke bua ka tsona. In his remarks on that day, the Prime Minister says the new government will increase accountability. We have spoken about this. I get it? In the public sector by creating a system in which performance expected to have to work. You know, on a media platform, media I tell you, those people who went. We've seen it. It can be backed up by experience. It's the nature of how the civil service works. The civil service works on social demand and pressure. Let's put the platform. So criticize. Government is saying yes, criticize. It's okay. And let's see what comes out of that. If criticism here will make this government better, then it's okay. Because at the end of the day, government should not wait to reware. They criticize more so that I can push. But one of my things was on its own way. When that happens, people receive good services. That's the logic. The government says push it if you can. And I'll show you inauguration. But I'll show you what informed this speech, which is a thinking that happened before this prime minister got into office. I'm getting into politics. Then he should have had a vision on what am I going to change? And that vision, he's saying it in this speech. I come to a very important section now. Or our ability, or he said, to achieve these issues that I've mentioned, will largely depend on the actions government will do in the first 100 days. A lot of people didn't understand why did he say 100 days. Yeah? And he says specifically, I therefore tend to the government secretary. Do you remember the functions of the GS? So that was the obvious office to tend to. I tend to you. Where I'm to have my PS level 30. One was not vacuum. Prepare my performance contract and those of honorable ministers and ensure they are signed in so many days, then make those contracts public. Why make them public? So that there can be engagement. They can be measured. He can be criticized for what is in his performance. What can we hold him accountable? Oh, genuinely, how can we hold him accountable if his performance is not made public? Measurable, visible result and what? On the day will make it public so that everybody can know that is making it visible, so that it can be measured, so that people can criticize him or pat his shoulder while he's doing well. Yeah? Sign performance contracts with principal secretaries. The law is clear. This is because the prime minister says he's aware without these things. It's difficult to make government accountable because how would you perform? Oh, no, 1, 2, 3, 4. You see that logic? You can't do measure because you have not agreed with anyone. What way? One of the first 2 points here that is set a direction. Again, in developing the accountability framework, the matrices. Again, you're allowed to develop tools and the standardized system of performance reporting and reflection for the whole of government, including district administrators and local authorities. Have a system where we know the lowest implementing unit of this government. That is what the prime minister, it's his vision. Whether it's been done or not done, that's another thing. Vision. Okay. So I've lost my thought process. Develop tools and a standardized system of performance reporting and reflection. Okay? How about the system? E re thusang re report re reflect. Okay? Ho tloa kae? Hodimo mona PS's ministers, and ke wa bona follow performance contract. You know, when you have a performance contract of a minister and that of a PS, you have a performance contract of that also. Because you know what on a sector. The director has sent the email I can to you. But the better side, direction in a go. You know, when we have this two, GSO corner holder at one accountable, like you like set up a cabinet. More PM are here, PSA now is not done 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, you are feeling in this direction. Remember, model is borrowed from the Rwandan model of governance and accountability. Rwanda man, because the issues are so visible and transparent. Okay? How to tell them? Lead council and because the system is a better traffic light. How to valid the reporting and reflection session? It's now going to reporter. There's an electronic system in the class. System here, the council and class now. You know, like creamy, what you will embargo. Ale embargo, you know, I can not you know what I mean? Because it is visible and open. Huh? So, you know, as a system in our counter, the performance reporting, it becomes difficult to do to talk about what government is doing. We've had district administrators in this country. Well, about what a man didn't who to keep a district administrator, who to supervisor, Papa Utsirelite, agenda Musos Tregency. Hello, give up Mozalaga TBS Tregency. Give up Mozaga later Tregency at service delivery level. That is the trend dating on our I want DAs to account. I want councils to account. I want PSs, ministers, and everybody to have a clear reporting and reflection framework. Yeah. Develop a system through which citizens can monitor and report performance. This is part of what we are doing now. Through your work, you can help Basotho to demand performance on this government. You can. Because Prime Minister was a gig labor. That's what I will see. I've provided resources, there's a budget. You all plan to pursue. Budget in the second quarter. You know now, what are these people doing? Because it doesn't make sense for me not to know what they're doing because performance, I'm voted out. You know, the possibilities in the other so that I can correct them. That's the logic. Saying that net hotway, DDA, criminally cancel mona. So to decentralization, you know, important. I can't wake up fellow who knows how to build decentralization in between Pilabahet of Tariq to one of the council. How about to decentralization in Hello, Santa Bajo. You're a PMO, how about in their current form? Find a way. I don't know what that way is, but find it. Because otherwise, we could have said, how have I merited decentralization? Otherwise, you can't justify the way you be. At council. How can you? How? But that's the reason you know, you know, how about in their current form? You're nagi you to know so I gave us in their current. That's the spirit. You know, a man more to Mutum either one. Then there are other issues around public financial management, cutting unnecessary spending. Again, over the years, we've seen the colloquial moves on the side of your campaign. I'll say it because it's a reality, it's the truth. And if it happens now, it's wrong. Even if it happens under this government, it's still wrong. It happened in the previous government, it was wrong. Even if it happens now, it's still wrong. And the delivery unit will say it is wrong. Cut unnecessary government spending. Because the pot is in. You know how to tell a Kuriman hang at SMA at least some village. Almost suffer. One pot in it's not like getting Kuruana and I know. Who's a village of budgeting yellow? It will be the put in the okay. Number 7, develop a plan of how to capacitate institutional agitation. Not a Maganana Sawan. As a result of the now, what about now? Actually, push all that later. You know, all about 1 hour for your capacity. Again, over the years, we know Havana station, Havana. Bao na jena wata uzibara mo na jema. Ushebe mtu asu tingin kala wata magana tuwa. So the Prime Minister in his speech says, build up Ambore. Ubane, titiaza push of more. Haka kwezi yo visitela visimu na mtu wako kote na watu wasaka shabarika jitikwa na jema. Yolo usebele za katunga kama ko visimu na ba. Okay. Udlaiza wangu. Habatu ba visa ya musi. These are issues still handling. Rationalize the colloidal. I don't know how many government vehicles telling you the institution that push of what's man on the ground. Hadi. Onajama police, onajualis. Ask Kayaka is home, Hana. Halet la mona gona kuita muso te panchile te chatile vespere te ni fela te ni hot bana na kai te buta dinga hagere kuita wa te suka te di to anfela di fuwe di institution te te fa di te so how ya clinic in kanya guma ne nese era o pepis o ga wala complication mara mutona gitsina di musa wana on ambulance. You see all these issues. So he's trying to build a system. Who will the resources to one? The Prime Minister is aware that he's judged at that level. Trust me. The Prime Minister is aware that he's not judged in this book. He's judged in Kenya. More than Nina have a module to the clinic in Siko. Tawain is stable for what we are Muzona on tools. You know, to now, how they building the resources at that level. Again. And he argues the central government is over-resourced. Zogo Vikele Kalembo got to create how it appears. Who has a visa along with the period? Get rent salary. Will that change? That's for you to determine. That's for you to question. You'll not watch now. I'm putting that to you. Go and check those things. So it's a number of issues that are in the speech. You see, that you will read, understand, to help you to have context to do what? To question government. What informed now the context of speeches? When the Prime Minister decided he's challenging for push. Then he said, what am I going to do different? Again. So just read it. It is called the Revolution 10. It's called Revolution 10 Unpacked. When that you speak to the manifesto of the RFP and the 10 chapters. O manifesto RFP na chapter at the 10. Again, in all shule get better hands. So that they think agree education man, the usual. Yabo 10 was a chapter dedicated to implementation and only implementation. Because the question was asked here, why do you say this will be different under you? So a question of accountability had to be addressed of implementation. So, but it will speak a lot to what I've said, but I'll show you very critical issues. For government to work, this is, they'll speak more because this was during their plenary sessions. I want to reform the office of the Prime Minister by doing what? Strengthen the GS. You see? Because they argue the fall of a lot of governments, they had weak government secretaries' offices. Offices that were not able to do what? To oversee PSs, to create an agenda for cabinet. You know about it? When they start, the first thing they will do is to make the GS's office more strengthened. Okay? To do what? To perform its function as spelled out in the law. You know, Gary, go and ask whether the GS's office is strong now. And what will determine its strength? You see? The Prime Minister is inviting. Hurry. Strengthen body DA, the District Administrative Council, to play a more active role. I will tell you now, a history, that history, that has to be rewritten. How na DA ka ba o etsa budget ya? How na mo councilor ka ba o etsa budget? Zela mo mo. Well, that's still the situation. It's for you to go and investigate. Hello to na go batho bano ka ha ba mo leveling ye mmuso ga la mona o phethatsa go. Ha e ben ntho e le nngwe le mmuso mo go. Post ka nna to enetse ennye fela ba santsa ba le teng. Ha ba sebetse ke ba le teng. So you can see triangulation at document they speak to each other. But this all again. How to strengthen parliament. Okay? The oversight role of parliament. You know, the PAC is a good thing. You know, the committee must ask more questions. Because the Prime Minister says, if they ask more, I will know what is wrong and I'll address it. You know, as a history is that they collapse government. Muso Urilaya to be overseen by parliament. You know, this vision was there. When we can govern openly by creating space for non-governmental organizations, media institutions. Create a space for media institutions. So I'm saying go and fight for that space, whatever that space is. Go and fight for it. And say that the speech in Zahao, Jogoman in Zahao, the media out of the space. Space is where New York will say. How you going to get Misagan? Fight for that space. Eh? Hey, fight for that space and come back and say, aha. Eh? It's like a regular test. Because it would be unfair to judge someone before testing. Who tested? Yes, the local Kelemubitsa Mona Lere. Tadekovi, or la Teletrafo, la Detela, la Teletrafo. Duane the leads the man in the division. I had that why is it? At this point, the government spokesperson, are you creating an enabling environment for media to participate and to tell the story of government? Highly inflected, tap on the show. So you know how now there's no bad news for this government. All news is news. That is the vision. Kickstart public sector reform management. Kickstart PFM, public financial management reforms. This country has a huge debt. A huge debt, over 400 million owed to the World Bank for projects that we should find value. The Prime Minister visionary area. We have to manage this debt. We have to get public financial management right. You get it? We should have a budget. I don't want to recurrent thing, capital. Because there's no system to make it accountable. I get to lighting. I get no, not Ramato. A high altitude center. Hapogola. That was financed out of the government budget. How can such a big thing just be built in a Mabove? And there's no consequences whatsoever for anyone. Hey, that's matter. You know, there are so many things. 10 years ago, budget because there are no processes to manage the budget wisely. I'm not doing budget control. Take that down. Functioning official budget control, only when you monitor and evaluate the budget. Is this budget giving this country well? How can we build Hapokola? How can we? And even talking to it, so nothing happened. One talk about that they also have the story of the palace. How do you build the palace for so many years and the budget is increasing all the time and you are paying it all the time? For the highest office in this country. How do you do that? So the PM says, have reforms. But visioning, if you read the document further, it's a how do you strengthen the office of the GS? Again, number one, planning, reporting and reflection, performance contracting, the DA that on out the guys or young Paramente, what is the approach, civil society, and this was developed before this government came into. Already, here are all the documents that you need to go and push your government to deliver so that you receive good services. This is the vision in not so many words. The vision is to make government accountable for making transparent everything that government has to do and making sure that there are consequences for delivery and non-delivery. And I'll end the country. This is what informed Logikina, I'm told. There's poor services delivery. So why? Because the center is not in control. I get diagnosis here, and that will speak more to this. Diagnosis here never yet but the center is not in control. He said the center again, Prime Minister and the GS. You see, how to decentralization also to a but walk a meeting, but Vaga is and two manage. GS to Holo. But to now Holo Kamezi. Matu GSO Kamezi PS. You know, he can blame one more. Tell on about walk a meeting, Baba. If there is Rapokola, and no PS was done, it's because the center was not in control. The center was not driving delivery. You see, the planning partner was coming from this side. This was an analysis that was done. Inconsistencies in financial and human resources allocation. Again, how a man most of it on Gatati? How by to any police station that is going, you can go to hope. I'll bet you, intelligent judge. I did not tell you. Quadi, how am Tagas, how I go at this? Fellow Kohoramo, you are a musos it's because the resources have been allocated what? Inconsistent to the job of government. But what to my village for Garalabat? Banzan with Sabon Kuna Karama. Who guys are our patterns. But everybody else has been paid, not that person who does the job. The IRO, Mapolizana Guru, Pelagona, address and crime. Nese clinic in Gaga, and a key history, depict to Angaso Santos in Athena. Over from people and Balaba Kenaweo before they came into government. They did an analysis of what is wrong with government. And on the basis of that analysis, the change program, let everything be transparent. Let there be social accountability to everything that was based on this. The scope and scale of poor performance is not known or communicated. TV, on TV and we know there's poor performance. We know. but we don't know na ke mang o kae jwang one. So PMO ha performance le mpe ke di PS le GS le nna le makolo. That is what is saying. Lack of consequences for poor performance fosters a culture of impunity. But what about that? Because they know they are not going to be asked anything. Le mona mo tuna go lwa reng ke bula platform ena media o le nthusa batho ba na go sentse ke ba hirile. Ga ba push mo ba tsotela ke entse mohlala ka mo Africa for a reason. Again, they are reacted PS. Maybe the same will happen for other media institutions. Maybe Radio Lesotho, you'll start telling the story of government the way it is. Not the story of government, because the minister has gone where so no report a piece. No. Et on a followed by that hand. But this thing you saw, but what's that? On a rebu vigile. Hey, rebu vigile. For infrastructure, must tell the story of government, because it is only then that government will be in a position to do what? To react accordingly. That's it. So, are you one of the consequences on it? Again, about it, but it's the same thing. It's okay. You might have that everybody. You know, to service delivery models are outdated and inappropriate. As a result, ineffective. Again, how do you deliver faster than Kala go ke mabali wa interest tsa mbuso sekeletse. E re tona gola o ka sheba speeches sa mano di di itena bofelo mosebetsi. Di tseba wa account. He's trying to address this outdated service delivery models. A don't pay back. Ke le wile graph ya employment ke ena ya Lesotho compared to the Nazari. Wage bill ya gona ke. Ba bo. O
Holanda do wile ga revolution tag. Handle le ntong le engwe le ha o ka sheba di manifesto tsa party tse ding kaofela. Di batla di tshwana. Fela ntho ana fapane ka hana o phethahatse. Le ha ra tsamaya mona na ntho di teng bo NSDP di teng kaofela. Fela go ile hore ntho tsohle di ngotswe. Go se tseng bara ke implementation o phethahatse. Jwale a le mema le ba tlale le ba polisi ba ditaba ha re beng mo tabeng ena mme tsa tsinela le re tla tsitsinya ga motho ona a ne re beng mo le motho ke na go jwale re tshwere mohlomong ka nna ba ka ra bongwa ha go sebetswa ntho tse di na le di bopana ba re ba tse dintho tse dintse tse ntseng hore a qetella a tlile ka tokomane nana o na ipisitse le nna ka phethahala ba e tlile o kene a tseba hantle ho hobe jwale re batla ho bona movement wa ho lokisa o le teng ho bona ha mme ja kgola ke ka lona ba fetile ba ba polisi le batla ba ditaba ba ka tseba ho le mothuse ho skepe sena se mo si tota polosa ba so ya kgola ke betse ke tseta benyana ya mana ntsa etsa mohlala ka se mo ya se ya nda ya kgola go bane e hlile ha o ka ha di go mo di nyametse a sa nke bithu ba madi dikotse kana tala Afrika ta ka po motho ke tsogolo Afrika e tla phama mme se sole se polisa maupela bohle ka ofela ba tla tsitsinya fela mo teng mo ya le ditshebeletso tse di etsa la diteng na re ntse re hlaba mokhosi jalo ka mo Afrika e hlaba mokhosi wa nena go ntate ya tshwere ya gola tlhabisitsa ha go molemo go sa motho a itseng go go to sebetsa mo a re ko holla punya re kolla a kolla jale batho ba na ba sa ba ba mona na ditse ba una kopane ba ho ibantha disemba jala ga a ke re tlotla sheba ditaba gore mo go hona kena go etsetse na batho ba sa ba etsa toi hore fela ene yana ba bitseng ka po ene yana kopane le bona ga nna ke taba gona go re le ditse ditaba tsena le tsena lo ga mantswe a mang motho eo a reng le sebetse mmogo o le kene tshebetsong le ena le hanane mo le hananang teng ke seng jalo mo koso e mara o ra hape ntho itseng ha tsebe re o tseba gore anta ga ke mang o hloka eng o hloka ho ya New York ka nta ga o tsaka nna ke New York so gore taba tse di go ke yona engagement yona ena ye re leng ka hara yona re a ka nnete ba konti ha re keneng letsholo lena la hore re bone hore re se sitsetsa skepe sena mo tona go lena ena a tshilong ka lwa ha re mo ya gola ka nnete o ka
batlhophi ke re ka motsotso re ka gola go tlile ke botse mo direng e bone gore dinyane di tatelana ya ka tlhokomela go ha e sale e le go gamisa go go se ba batla ga go go se ba
le fa go rona se di bontsha gore mo tsona e ne lo go senyetsa nna ke se ke sa isa taba eno mme le go bona go e tlang ha bona le sesho ba mofuta ona le hlakise hantle ba phatlalatsi ba tloswe ba ise mo ba batla go sa thabeng ka bothata hantle ba so se mo ke mona se a reflection session post 200 days of the RFP-led government. All on in the past 200 days, what has this government done? You see, you are getting into the holistic, the TV, image, the past 200 days of RFP-led government. So you know the topic in the visitor when I let the close and you are kind. Kalaya wa. You know the way they did monarchy home. You see? You have already have a 30 of money. Tena. That's a cool. Yes, I got a dream of 70 Bunda. Yelling, I want to let you to Charamona. Tokobaska se vitangwa. Keko Poreska se vitangwa umelo horo. Eko na rubuga mo sebetsi. Kelo ka ga go tsi. Libuaga accountability, libuaga transparency. Amola na ka botsa gona le fumana bokae ka go. Ha le transparent. You see? Fela ile ona ta go le ditsi mo yona. Ile ona taba e measurable lo bona ha ile hantle mo mo le sebetsa mo re sebetsa ka thata le hiwe ke ma le sitwa o itlhalosa lo no e hiwe ke tona go kontraka bona le tsena ditaba tse le re ba tsona le re tsona le tsona di kontraka tsa di PS tsa intsa ditaba tse ga di tswe ke ba go le mo ntate le hiwe go le be ba ile tsa hae le bona go pheta go ba teng o tsenya tona go na le phapa o sebetsa hantle a go le yena so
ya le mma
o se ise le national
oh ya wala ida
I don't think that we came to engage. Okay? We've given you tools that can allow you to engage this government. That was the purpose of this session. Botoloki ba ona in 200 days. Go and find out now. Okay? Because you have context now. You know who to ask. Okay? On the basis of what? And you're allowed to do that. That was the spirit of this presentation. When I go post 200 days, we have to get all over. Because it is in the vision of government to create an enabling platform for you to do that. You see? Second thing that we did in this forum, come and claim your position. It's your opinion. You are entitled to opinion. What we are saying is, government is opening itself up. I've said it. And that hampers your ability to engage with government. So the delivery is saying, go and find the appropriate tools, structures, and systems to engage with your government. With what? With the end in mind. See, appealing to don't take this opportunity to put government to account lightly, because you put many other things except your welfare in front of what you have to do. And can really do all the time. You see, that was the purpose of this meeting. Government is open for you to come and criticize it and to contribute, so that at the end of the day, all of us, because first and foremost, before you speak on that platform, just remember that. And Muzo will come and hold us accountable. Muzo will come and promote your Africa. Again, let all of you do it. What is wrong? Again, hey, Muzo or criticize us. We are opening up this government. So the purpose was that. Again, the purpose was never to say we are going to reflect on progress. Muzo post 200 days. The purpose was to reflect on the vision of government, the vision, not an operational plan of government for the last 200 days. That the GS will do. The GS will reflect on an operational plan of government for the past 200 days. So he has the right to do that.
How to do bo lona le le haufi le yena ha le mmotsa hore na bothata bo teng mo tloa o qadile go fitela hona ke kapa bothata ha bo ntse di tsamaya o re ya o qetela ke hore ha bitswe media e tsala rata haholo ha ke etsa rata haholo mane ena molatedi wa Mthombe tuna haholo ore ke utlwile wa politiki o dula o llantsha o dula o supa diphoso mehlai ke ya
okay ke ne ke na ebe oversight o di matona golo yona e etsiwa ke mang gobane ka ga taba tsena tsa revolution 10 unpacked na le taba ya strengthen parliament oversight gona lona le delivery unit le reng mo parliament RFP because hara tse ding ba ile ba vouta kgahlanon le sitshiyo hlanga bo hanyetsing go mo hlomphe tona golo ka pela parliament a botswa dipotso e le ga tsebe go ba accountable to the nation gona o ntse etsang in the office but RFP le mmuso ba ile ba sebedisa majority ya bona to suppress such a good motion ore tona golo le ka mona go tswe RFP government e tla ba le taba ena accountability le ka bona parliament ya lona la against that taba ya accountability ka vote against such a good motion ore tona golo a buele setšhaba a botse dipotso in the parliament ke a lebo
that is a ngola kwe
Daddy,
when I understand us better, please, please, Dad. this invitation here for money. Yes. A session on revisiting the Prime Minister's vision. It's all a belief and a reflection on session post 200 days of the RFP-led government. The first part, then go home winner. One is like is pure sapitu in a let them missing you. Oh, baby. Kiho, that day. La Hala Mokote one muso. If so, the Hala guy. Kikopa yes or no. May have a yes, please state for now. The Hala guy. Yellow.
Now I'm doing
is not to say whether government is doing right or wrong. Is to say what was the vision or what is the vision of the Prime Minister, okay? And to invite you to support that vision because it's a vision. Or whether politics of whether this thing is happening or not happening, may do what? They can not a cloud as you go jump at an opportunity, 8 present down how to be propagandist machines that moves, who to come and criticize government. You know, that's the end that we hope to achieve out of the session. All other questions are questions that we can respond to. Shoulders more than a pide. That was the primary purpose of the session. If whether you decide to do it or you don't do it, but that is the position and vision of the Prime Minister. And that is backed up by key documents. Yes,
institution ha re no kena ditabeng tsa hore na ba lokela ho etsa wang ha ba no etsa jwang ehlile ba ikemetse ka molao mo mothabeng mo ba leng mateng ba ka botsa dintho tse ba ka di botsang ba ka batla support ya hore ba botse mmuso ka information ka di-research tse ba di entseng hore o account dintho tse o tla di etsa ke boikarabello ba bona moo ha se karolo e rona re kenang ho yona. Okay,
except what the Prime Minister is saying is, I'm open to Parliament, XYZ. That's a vision. I'm saying whether it is happening or not happening is another thing. But he's saying to me, I want Parliament to oversee the executive, because that is the role of Parliament. You see, that question that they would say is a very good question. Okay? Just find the right platform and the right office and say, but no, we're gonna contradiction. Vision in your heart. Your parliament. Again, because over the years, we have had situations where half the time parliamentarians this pro change. Again, what you want to do is to say to the Prime Minister, be careful if you're doing that, because that's contrary to your vision. Don't take for granted invitation. Again, again, I want to question health, I want to question agriculture, I want to question able to develop a program here because for every function there's what? They need to create a resource for functioning employees. We understand the politics of media in this country. It's all sorts of things. Practice what in your sphere is called yellow journalism. Or tell stories that sad. Again, Tell stories that sell, not stories that are developmental. Maybe because you're under pressure to raise rents, to pay your staff, to do all that. To home and find what platform can we reach more independent as watchdogs in this country. So I'm saying, don't undermine that invitation that is contained in the Prime Minister's vision by asking questions that may cloud your ability to see the value in a organization. How on that? How who to now willing to now willing to how accountability, how transparency. The consequences of peer performance, how about to honor moving. Mark, you monega and Ganyuro, Monaga citizen. You know, where we meet to you to you know what one of media about the citizen. I think your visionary. So it's the vision, is the program of government on the one hand. You can't confuse the two.
Ndate wa tseba gore ka mehla yotlhe go ntse na le batho ba ka ba ga empa molemo o teng wena kwa gore wena o tla criticize o bue mo hloka ke o botsa o dina ya etsa ha jwale ka re tsoba ke ba ha ya le ka le itse ka bo fisiki mo go botsa go dina ya etsa ba le tla ya etsa ha ke dimelo go motho ya jwalo ka ba mosanka jwalo o tla criticize le ga se ka nna mo tsene dira ditaba tse tla be di tswa ke batho ba bang mo ba ka ntle ba sa ba itela ha ke ya o tibela ho wena o tswele pele ka hore o le mose mmuso ba bontshe mo e bang tshepiso e eo ya ba di phadi tsa hare o tswa mo dipedi wa gona di tsena bana go bana eng le tsa ba
ha ke tlo ya mo di tsela ka mo anda ba pasele ha o ya ke gola ya mo putso ndate ha mo putso o le teng le tla o tseba ha o le teng le tla o tseba le tla fumana ko ga ona ntwe ka ba ipata le tla o tseba le gore na ga pata ba o disenye peng jwang re na le resources tsa mofuta o feng taba tse nna tse ona tsela nta ditso re fumana di seng mo ntse re ithunya teng fela hlile ha re na mo ka re se re hlile re le mo le teng tla ha se re na le office yo le kana fumana hantle go yo le tla le fa yona ha o binyana ka tsela o bana sentse re tle re na le lone re tla ne o re this platform and engagement ha re tla ne re tle ka tsona jwalo ka mafapha ohle a meyang a setjhaba e le hore deliver e le hore toro ya motlhomphehi yona re tsepame ho mayo.
Yeah, just on that, party when do we reflect on the actual thing that is happening? The delivery unit has requested the Prime Minister, but because it's going to happen very soon.
No.
Tshwana gore fela mogolo ha o se le teng jwale potso ka gore na e le gore ha la sign dikonteraka ba dikonteraka ke na le ya tlhalosa gore na le ke tlhola bokae delivery unit ena e thehilwe ka ditho tsa RFP fela kapa tsa balekane ba bang ba teng ka hare ho puso jwalo ka ha re le bona le bararo tjena hore na delivery unit ena e thehilwe ka batho ba feng ba tswang ho kae le morero wa yona ke utlwile hanyenyane hore ke ho tlatla thusa mohlomphedi tona kgolo hore a etse mosebetsi wa ho tsamaisa puso yanda ke a kgola ke yona potso ne ke tjho ke re e tla me sa letse morao
ke a kgola le ke mpe ke kene dinam
I'm going back again to you as a journalist. You see, how important is that for you? What value does it add? No. Go ne sekere. Hakala re bitsa le re ke re etse moka ke re ba ona re gola bokae. Maybe then we'll sit down on that. Accountability. Today, in a session, I will put the vision out of home. Again, please go and report on that. And the vision is what? Come and fight for the rights of this country. That's the vision. Again, ha ni kholo ele ting to tsena ka o fa diteng a ga ra bothata ba wa account ona go ka again maybe kana go mo jole in the spirit of accountability tla be sentse go pena lona na lo kholo kae le tswaje go le re ntwele go because if you can ask that question it can also be asked on you again hey tela re hana go eno fitla again we have no problem to disclose gona re patala ba ka patala ke mang etc for now. We were sent by the Prime Minister to come and communicate his vision. And we want to say to him, we did that. That was our job today. Oh, how come like terms of reference? We deliver unity, it lies to fit purpose. You'll be amazed to run down on a deliver unity that go cooperate with opposition. So long as that person is a champion of what? Accountability and transparency. Onajola ka salaba go tshira fe. Salaba go pitso ye kena ka le tswaila NGO push. You bonta te ba hlalositse mona they are from the party. E deploy them back into government. Again, ero wa hloka go bile ona le mediki. Again, wa hloka because ba se ba deploy ba yo ba ipolisa. Ba yo ba ba ntse re sa sebetsang. Ero ba setseng ka ntle. We don't know. Maybe they decided to stay outside to do what? To protect the vision. So that Bazimbalaka, you also have to defend that about this and that. Who sit in the National Executive Committee of the party to do what? To demand. We are in for independent voice. They are also in for independent voice because the government deployees are managed by the party. Why?
Also got a important yellow money. So I'll go Hana what man. Only abone me or
Okay. Report to what we said is the vision of the Prime Minister to make government transparent. Not transparent in what? Then you'll sit with the GS again, you'll sit with PSS again to get to the specifics of what this issue of transparency is. And now, most the most intransparent, the accountable, the most intransparent. Again, most non-social pressure. One about what's the whole villaging ka misa again ke le sotumo but how can you demand you know on that pedestal and that platform again however le tona le so oti again it is a valid point that we take from this meeting again here and that what's the our vision now general but one of our the minister responsible for sector in our house of chaki that's it again ero ha ga ntwe ne ne paetse ka pa e fosa re re fela re nka ile no to take
ya para ka di la ke le su ri na go isi di ja para ka mo
Le ka hona ke leboa bodimo ba rona kwano ka ntate ke hanya taba tsena se mona ntate mo gona no ke bua le ena
Let's pray.
Every time I look at my mom, I see my world. I see a protector, a provider. I see a friend like no other. Sometimes I sit and wonder, how do we protect such beautiful creatures? Well, sometimes you can't, especially against things like death. The least we can do is to encourage them to take Tori funeral plan, because they take care of us when they are here, and Tori will take care of us when they are gone.